All right. Today we're going to learn the Raspberry Pi and installation of the Raspberry operating systems and configuration. And finally, we'll look at how to how to activate virtual network connections so that once you set up, you may not need to bring your extra monitor. I have an extra monitor here. I'm going to show it to you a little later. We need to uh, first figure out the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is so-called microcontroller. Uh, Sometimes this microcontroller may be much more powerful than your laptop. Very handy. As you can see, here we have an Ethernet connection, and then total 4 USB port. And then we have a pinouts, 40 pinouts, so that we can connect it to the other devices, including sensor devices. This is the RAM, the 1 gig, 2 gig, and 4 gig, 8 gig, all different kinds of RAM size possible. And this is a processor, a little powerful. And then we have a USB-C driver. This is for power supply. And then we have 2 channels of HDMI from micro to regular, or whatever the terminal monitor that you have. So HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and this is a camera ports, audio ports. Underneath this, there's a SD card. So all of your operating systems needs to be installed on your SD card. So your SD card needs to be installed to be bootable. So bootable SD card is required. So we'll start with how to make your SD card bootable. So many good features available here. Broadcom PCM mode possible. Here, this is pinouts. You can use these pinouts by setting normal way or Broadcom PCM, so-called. If it is a PCM mode, then it has already pre-designated, predefined pinouts for all kinds, UART communications, I2C communications, and I think some other SPC communications. Those all major wireless communications are possible. The processor, 2.4 gigahertz for these wireless communications, and Bluetooth. Bluetooth BLE is not coming with this, but you can add to it. Gigabit Ethernet available, and then two USB, 3 USB, USB 3 and USB 2, and then 40-pin GPIOs. As I said, the PCM mode or board mode. By default, it could be simply 40 board mode, although it has some pins designated. If you carelessly use some pins, then it may be power lines, hot lines, or some maybe some other lines, ground. More particularly, if you set your mode PCM, then you have to use the GPIO pins very carefully, because most of the pins are pre-designated. HDMI ports, audios, this is some the encode decode mode, graphics possible, so that you can see your monitor in graphical user interface. This is very important. Micro SD card is needed, because all of your program should stay on your SD card. And then 5-volt DC via USB-C connector. You guys know USB-C connector, right? And also there's a pin, GPIO pins, 5-volt and 3.3 volts, both are possible. Power over Ethernet enables operating temperature is 0 to 50 degree in Celsius. Raspberry Pi invented in UK longer than 10 years ago. If you purchase a recent the microcontroller Raspberry Pi, then I think many of them are made in China, but still all is invention still owned by England. This is a configuration of the pin outs. We have a BCN pin outs, as I said. Then you need to follow this. The explanations of the outside for each pins. If you play with the board mode, then you simply use many others, except to avoid, to designate the power lines. 3.3, the pin number 1, and the 5 volts pin number 2, and another 5 volts pin number 4. And then somewhere here 17 board mode, I think it is okay. This is only for I guess only for PCM mode. So 2 power outlets of these two, and this ground. And there are many ground here, this and that, all black, that is ground. I think you may identify this by colors. Black, then that is ground. Real red, those 3 pins are the power lines. All others we can simply use. Raspberry Pi operating systems. Many ways in many years ago, but now I recommend this number 2 lines. Number 1 still possible, but you have to use separately. You need to know how to make your SD card bootable. There is some of the programs that you have to use to make your SD card bootable. But if you go with this number 2 OS imager, then I think you will be okay. So we're going to, you need to download imager from this website. This is easier. Okay, so make sure that you have to download that. Once you download SD card, even if the SD card you purchase brand new, you may not know how that SD card is formatted. Usually SD card is formatted for Windows operating systems. The operating systems that we are going to install on SD card is not Windows, but Linux. Raspberry Pi operating system is a Linux family. What that means is that we have to reformat our SD card. If your SD card is not bootable, we first format it so our SD card is empty, ready for any bootable. This is number one case. And then you open up this program, the one that you download, and something that you have to do is operating systems that you have to choose. Usually, whatever available here by clicking. So Raspberry Pi OS, 32 bits, storage, the SD card, and then you can click start. Then it goes more. What I am going to do, I'm going to do, okay. So right now, I think my camera is, your SD card is like this. Wait a minute, do I have SD card here? Oh no, where is my SD card? I lost, oh here. I think I lost the SD card. This is the SD card. You probably need some SD card reader. Could be like this, and this is SD card. It's recorded. I'm trying to show this on the cameras so that you can follow this. So you can plug this. You have to be very careful to plug. Okay, so plugged. And then I have regular USB port. Plug that USB port. This is there. This is mounted on my Mac. And I have imager. Oh, I have to do SD card format first, right? So click this to bring up formatter. And SD card, select the media, disk 10 storage device. I believe this is that. How can I see? There's no other options right now, right? Only this. Disk 10 mass storage device media. SDS, no. Quick format. I'm going to make a quick format, but overwrite formats, it takes a little longer. Here I can say RP I 4555 and the format. format complete. Then nothing there, right? Right now. And then I am going to start Raspberry Pi imager. There's a new version of it download. Would you like to? I'll do that later. No. And then choose OS. For safety, I'm going to use 32 bits. If you know for sure, then you may use this, or you can do legacy. And then storage. This is the storage that I currently made, right? RPI 555. And then start to write. All existing data, yeah, erase. You should want to continue, yes. Did you read? Yeah. That wasn't your question.
Okay.
You worked that way.
Yeah.
So try.
This one, I still don't have my LT card yet. I couldn't find my LT card at home, so I have to look it up. And this one, I'm not sure how to operate this one yet, so he gave us like
Sensor?
Yes.
No, not next week.
Next week, okay.
Yeah. We have to set up Raspberry first. Raspberry Pi first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then we'll do sensor connections next week.
All right. Thank you.
So only one instance right now. You can follow this at home because this is being recorded.
And for the storage device, SD card, does it have to be like 4 gig, 8 gig?
SD card is a lot bigger than
Minimum what requirement?
I think 16 gig or 32, 64.
Okay.
I think the biggest SD card now is 1 terabyte.
No, I just need a smaller one, smallest one.
Yeah, smaller ones. Yeah, maybe $10 to $20. Then you can get a 32 gigabit SD card.
Sure.
Yeah, I purchased 2 of 32 gigabit SD card from these are Amazon products. Maybe $20. Smaller storage capacity, much cheaper.
All right, smaller the better.
I'm not saying smaller is better. Cheaper. Yeah, if you store big data on 1 terabyte altogether, SD card is not really robust. If something happens, then you lose 1 terabyte data, right?
Right.
So if you divide that small chunk, several others, then even if one SD card has damages, you can save many others, right?
Okay.
So that way, yes, many smaller SD cards may be better. But from my experience working on Raspberry Pi, even 16 gig never been full. Think about that. If you do not save your data on this storage, then it doesn't consume much. I think 1 gig operating systems total. But as you collect sensor data and save locally here, then it may be full quicker. You can do that. Whole purpose of this class is not going to save your local, but you have to post your sensor data to the cloud server. We'll work on that every 2 weeks from today. Two things that you have to do. One, simply alphanumeric data, which is a sensor data from any sensors. I have a couple of available sensors. If you like, you can use mine. Distance sensor and motion detection sensors. I'll bring it next week. There are some data that may be collected, and then you can send it to the server. While it is doing, I want you to, because you guys do not have a camera sensor, right? Camera, although we can plug it in here, it's a little bit expensive. Maybe before COVID-19, it was about $50, but right now I think maybe over 100. Many of the products doubled right now. Partly because of inflation, partly because of supply chain issues. But anyway, so I do not enforce you to buy. I do not ask you to buy images, but because you have your smartphone, once you set up everything, then I want you to take a photo, your cell phone images. So submit that cell phone image to the servers. Sure. So the server will have two kinds of databases that I set up: image database and alphanumeric database. So selectively, when it comes to iPhone apps development, we can download the images, we can download text files, both. That I gave you a demo, the first class, right? Some of the cell phones that we can, some of the images we can scroll horizontally, right? Some of the data we can scroll vertically. Those things are the images captured by each of the students. So we can practice it that way. So two kinds of data may be possibly collected. Alphanumeric data, usually that is a sensor data, right? If it is a temperature, then temperature is alphanumeric. And also another is image data. Video, I do not want you to submit the videos. Although I set up carefully to check your data when you submit it, unless otherwise our server will, that is the attack, right? That's a cyber attack. If you submit some malicious code, then that malicious code resides on our server. Then that is a big damages. So that my program sanitize that. Sanitization there, because it's still, that is still on progress. Usually on our server, cloud server, we can check the file extension only. Is it enough? I'm now asking you guys. Extension called JPEG, then is it really JPEG file? We do not know, right? Then how can you verify it? Anyone has any idea? You guys do not care about security issues? Only development?
We do. Me personally, I don't know like how the JPEG, how
Yeah.
to verify if it is JPEG or if it is
Right.
other format.
So cybersecurity program learns that. So all the files, if you open the files, not by using the viewer. Usually when you click JPEG files, because of that extension, accordingly, your operating systems bring up the JPEG image viewers, right? So if you go that way, then you don't know, right? So you have to look at file content directly, looking at in hexacode. So you have to scan the file from the beginning, hexacode. Why hexacode? Of course, it is a binary code. But if you read the binary code, then it's almost inconvenient for you to know, right? So we can, you can remove. Okay, this is done. So by doing this, what I have been doing so far, I am installing, probably not yet installed. I make my SD card bootable. That's all I did so far. From laptop, we don't do anything yet onto our Raspberry Pi, okay? You have to do this on your laptop. And then you need to unplug. Where is my, it's already disconnected, right? It's not anymore mounted. This SD card is not mounted. By completing this, it's already disconnected from my laptop. Then you have to take this SD card from the USB, and then you can plug it into, there is a slot, SD card slots. This is the top, but bottom. Not that USB port side, but the other end. So I plugged it, and then what you need to do is you have to connect the keyboard and mouse. I have two ports for use keyboard, the mouse. I have two mouse, one for this and the other mouse. And keyboard, I have the keyboard, flexible keyboard. I like this for Raspberry Pi. This is not expensive, maybe $20 or $30. So connected, and I have power lines. I have a monitor here. I'm too short. Monitor, small monitor. This guy has also a monitor. Can you pull it up to show? So I'm going to power up my monitor. Make sure that you have HDMI 1 connection. Okay, that is. I'm going to show this here, this end, so that you may be able to see. And there is a USB-C drive. This is a power lines. This is USB-C drive, and as I plug this, then you can see some lights on, red lights and green lights. Green lights usually works well, and I want to see right now. There is a Raspberry Pi, Raspberry fruits came up, and you have to do configurations. So what I am trying to do, because I need to see the monitor. Oh, this is okay. It says, welcome to Raspberry Pi desktop. Before you start using it, there are a few things to set up. Please press next to get started. So I'm going to click on next button and set country. By default, United Kingdom, because that is the country that invented this device. So I'm going to change this to United States. And then language should be American English, not British English. And then time zone, you have to make sure that is New York or there's a New York. Use English language, click on that. Use a US keyboard. There's a UK keyboard which is not the same as the keyboard that we use. Okay, so not exactly the same. Some keys. Alphanumerics, fine, but there are some function keys and control. Some of the keys are not matched with our convention, my convention. You guys may have different. If you're from British English, then you can keep that convention. So I set up here United States, American English, and New York time zone, and then click next button. Oops, another. The user account currently Pi PI, which is super user privileges, pi. Keep in mind, pi. And then password you can set up, enter username, or you can change it pi to something else. But usually I do not change it. Once I change it, I forget it. So I have to restart. So usually what I do is I know this is not secured, but my SD card is not something that I need to make sure for security. So simply some of the login and password that I can recall easily is much worth than the other way that I make this so hard so that even if somebody take my SD card, I don't lose mine. I don't keep any important data on this SD card. Ready to lose. So don't change it in my case, but if you want to, you can change. Username can only contain lowercase letters, digits, and hyphen must start with the letter. Is there any way that I can skip? No. Hide the character. I do not want to hide the character. So simply use pi. Pi is my login name. Enter password. Raspberry Pi. Raspberry. 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 So Pi is my username and Raspberry is my password. That way I may not. By the way, this was the login and password set for default in earlier version of a Raspberry Pi, but they now changed it for security management. So I'm going to keep this if this guy accepts it. So I'm going to. I know this is not secure, but yeah, we use the known default. This guy says this is a default password. Oh, it accepted. Good. Wi-Fi network. Mavericks Wi-Fi. That's what I am trying to do. This is good. The new version of operating systems, earlier version of operating systems, at the phase of configuration, it doesn't provide us any possible SSID network for wireless Wi-Fi connections. But now this guy showed that. So Mavericks Wi-Fi, and click next. So password is Mercy University, right? Mavericks. One word. All small? I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So Mercy University. Let's see it. So there's a Mercy University, and then next, connecting to Wi-Fi. Please wait. Okay.
I have a question, So I have my Pi, and I have everything, but I didn't bring my
Mhm,
display.
mhm.
I normally use my monitor and HDMI. So do we need to bring it in class?
No,
No.
it's not required, right? As I said, the monitor, we have, I think we have 2 monitors available for you to use. The right upper and bottoms,
Okay.
2 monitors, if you want.
But for the class,
Yeah, if you are working out here, you don't need to bring monitor. And also, as we set up VNC, virtual network connections, then we can use our laptop monitor. So your Raspberry Pi can communicate to your laptop. So on your laptop, you can work on your laptop platforms, and also at the same time of Raspberry Pi platforms. Okay, Firefox, click here to uninstall. Okay, there are possibly 2 web browsers available, Chromium or Firefox. Which ones do you like? Firefox usually works good on Windows, but Chromium was originally came with the Raspberry Pi, but this is a new version. So Firefox, this is the first time that I see when I install this Raspberry Pi. First time that I see Firefox is another options. So I'm going to taking your recommendations, and Firefox, click. I don't want to uninstall the other. Simply click next to proceed. Another one is update the software. Of course, I need to update the software. Previously, this question was not available. So once we complete our configuration, then you need to open up your terminal on the Linux. Then you have to update and upgrade. There's 2 different things, right? So that's what you can do in Linux. So I'm going to click next button. Usually for Linux, each Linux platform has its own sort of database, but it's not really a database, a file on their operating systems containing a number of the URLs of resources where your operating systems can bring down if there is any software updated. For example, if you installed once some of the stock New York Exchange, then that URL is saved on that update files. So when you update that, then it updates possible resource address. And then when you upgrade it, then it open up all those address. If there is any software, new versions of software, then they bring down and update it. That is how Linux works. Error checking to update. Sometimes this happens. Then you don't have to do this. We can do that manually, as you can see here. And then we will do restart. Click on the restart button. Probably when you look at this this recording from Blackboard, you may be able to see the monitor. I mean, this. I turned on the camera and then screen together. We have two things now recorded, right? Screen recording and camera recordings. I turned on the camera as well. Zoom doesn't do that very efficiently. So what I did is I turned on another tool to record both screen and cameras. So I'm going to touch a little bit and maximize the camera if the camera is needed for you. Unless otherwise, I minimize the camera so that you can see the terminals. Oh, very nice. There's a terminal and then web browser. And make sure that you have, oh, this is already connected. So I'm going to show this. This is a Wi-Fi connections. And we have here terminal. This is a real terminal that you need to do the Linux command. And we have here web browser. I want to make sure if it is Wi-Fi, the Firefox. Oh, real Firefox came. Very nice. How can I make it small? Okay. Small. Okay, so up to this, and then we'll look at now. This is done, images, imager, and bring up that. So what's left? So we did that. See, this is a little different, the way that we did, right? Yeah, this was the image that we could see from the earlier version of Raspberry Pi OS. Is this also one of the Chinese mountains?
I'm not sure.
Or Cambodia? I'm not sure. Okay. So we've done that all the way. Now ready to use the shell command. We can use the command. As we can see here, this is the terminal. So if I say ID, then it showed to me, oh, this is very small. So help zoom in and zoom out, shift control plus plus. Okay, I could do this, shift control plus 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 plus. Oh, this is very clear now. So I have here user ID Pi, because I didn't change Pi, and all other information about me, myself. That you can practice. And then VNC, virtual network computing. That's what we want to do. So if you want to use your laptop or cell phone to display your Raspberry Pi, VNC is a solution. Yeah, cell phone, you can also use your cell phone as the monitor of your Raspberry Pi. How nice. Yeah. So you have to download IP scanner, not really needed, but real VNC viewer. VNC viewer is needed, not VNC server. Okay? Please do not download the VNC server. Once you download the VNC server and configure it properly, then it bugs you all the times because you have to do as a server. We don't do the server, right? We simply use a viewer. So we want to view only, not as a server. So there is a different platforms available. This address is for Windows, as you can see. But there is a Mac version. If I have here VNC viewer. Make sure that you have a VNC viewer. Okay? Do not install VNC server. Okay. So two things that we have to do. From your Raspberry Pi, you have to make sure the VNC and SSH. Yeah, first of all, VNC is needed, right? You have to enable VNC on your Raspberry Pi. And then you can open up from your laptop the VNC viewer. Then they should work. Software installed, two things here. Download that on your PC. You have to install it. So by double-clicking VNC on that, you have to check the IP. IP needs to be known together. What happens here is that I'm not sure if our Mercy University Wi-Fi allowed us to, two devices communicating under their router. You can do that at your home, no problem, right? If that happens, then we cannot meet again next week. If our Wi-Fi router does not allow us to communicate, then there's no point that we need to do here. So each one separately at home. Otherwise, we will do that. Okay, VNC viewer. So what I'm going to do, see what others. On Raspberry Pi, then we have to menu on top left. There is a preference and Raspberry Pi configuration interface. Click that interface, and then there is a radio buttons for many other configurations. So we will enable VNC. We will enable. We don't need to do SSH here, right? In this class, maybe SPI for Raspberry Pi, but we will do that. I mean the sensor network. We'll do that later. You can do that from the menu drivens, or you can do the same thing on your terminals. If you want to do on your terminal, then this is the command: sudo space resp-config. Then there will be pop-up menu that you can see in the uppercase. You need to do the same thing that you do. So let's try to do that on Raspberry Pi. So on the upper left, then we have a preference, and then Raspberry Pi configuration. This, I need to show this properly. So Raspberry configuration, click. Okay. The Raspberry configuration, there is many tabs available on top. So you need to choose interface. VNC currently off, so you have to enable it. HHS, enable it. SPI, I want you to enable it. This is for the communication, but we don't do SPI, I2C communication, serials.
SPI, Professor?
Which one?
What is SPI?
I think there's serial port interface or something like that. Serial port interface or UART interface, I2C communication interface. 3 types of wireless communications available. Okay. For your common sense. Okay. All right. And then I click OK. Updating configurations, please wait. This is what it says. Okay. Once you have that, then on your terminal, type IP and IP space and address. That is Linux command. Then you may be able to see the IP. I think, what is IP? 10.206.82.168.163. I believe that is the IP. 10 dot. Okay. So, and back here, I'm going to start the VNC viewer. This is my first time. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to do sign in. Did I have? Not sure. Password. Let me check my this is two-factor authentications. VNC. Okay, now I can see so many things. We need to choose something. Currently, the IP that I can see here, 10.206.86, 10.206. Do not have it yet. Let me check. IP. IP address WLAN not shown. I'm going to restart my Raspberry Pi C. I'm going to do reboot here, if you see. Reboot and hit enter. It's being rebooted. I want to see IPs that I can see on my laptop. What is the IP? IP command is not possible. Then I have configured. Okay. IP address is not shown. What is my Mavericks Wi-Fi? It should be the same router, but my laptop configuration does not show IP address of my laptop. I think this is 10.43.172.32. This is my laptop IP, but I need to have my Raspberry laptop IP. Okay, I rebooted my Raspberry Pi. There is an error message that says SSH is enabled. Default password Pi. Oh. Okay, and I am going to see, make sure the configuration, preference, Raspberry Pi configurations. And then interface, VNC is on. Okay. And on my terminals, I type IP address, and then WLAN 10.206.86. 10.206.86. I want to redo this. Ten dot doesn't show. Okay, let's type here. 10.86 dot 10.206.86. 10 dot oops. Enter VNC. 10. Oh, here. 10.206.86 dot 163 and hit enter. Connection was refused by the computer. Or refused by the computer. Why this is refused? I want to make sure in this way, sudo I type sudo resp -config on command line. Okay, here system of display options. Let's see display options. VNC resolutions. VNC is enabled. Let's see what happens again. Refused. VNC is enabled, but why this is so refused by router or not sure. I'll do that one more time. If it does not work, then I think we will stop. Because this is not simply the issue on Raspberry Pi, but the router. Yeah. I'll do this exact same configuration at home. Soon as I back home, I'll try to do this. I showed that if it works, then I'll bring all in one recording so that you can view it at home for your configuration. If our university router does not allow this communication, then I think you guys need to do that at home, and I am going to invite you to Zoom so that we can talk. Not throughout whole semester. Our iPhone apps developments will have no problem. This is the only problem of VNC. If you need to communicate with the VNC, VNC and your laptop needs to talk to the router. Router is a common, so router needs to route your network traffics from your Raspberry Pi to laptop and back and forth. But right now, see, those are all the Raspberry Pis that I have done. If there is a 190 some, then that's my home when I connected my Raspberry Pi. 10 dot something, then I believe that is for Dobbsbury. But here, it's very strange. Here, usually IP is 192 IPs. But when I see my laptop, this is also 10.43.170.232. When I look up that on my Raspberry Pi, it is 10.206.86.163. But there is some refugees. Connection was refused by the computer. Computer means it's not just this computer, but along the way. I think this is, let's see what else that we need to do. Once it is done, then IP scanner, you don't need to. There is a software scanning IP address, but you need to do that your here, as I mentioned here, on terminal. Oops. Here on terminal, Raspberry terminal, you can type IP space address, then you can see address. So keep that address in mind, and on your VNC viewer. Oh, wait a minute. We have to use new connections. Right, we have to use new connections. Oh, here. Because there is no menu. Okay, new connections. Yeah, I think yeah, we skipped that. So 10.208.86.163, and we name here new RPI. Let VNC server choose. We don't need to do anything, but simply options, automatic, and OK. Is there something that we can see? Oh, here, new RPI. Open it. Connection was refused by the computer. Oh, same thing. Now I need to reboot. See, this guy is still confused. Make sure our the Wi-Fi is still the same Wi-Fi that we do. And then I want to double click this. One more time, I'm going to check IP address. IP address is 10 dot property 10.206 10.206.86.1. hopefully works this time. Still. Oh, Y86 206 206 Y8. Want to make another new connections. 10.206 dot. Oh, here. 10.206.86.163. 163. 10.206.86.163. Another new API. Okay. So I don't need the new API. This, delete. And this, our final attention. Let's go. This is really 10.206, 10.206.86.163. Okay, I think this is, it's not working. But it should work when you do at home. So new connections, you put there. If you do that, then on your this should be came up. VNC server, see here. Server means my Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi will be a server. My laptop, that is a VNC viewer. On your laptop, that you can see login name and password. Here you need to put, was it because of my password? Because I didn't change my password. Let's try one more time. Because this guy asked me to update. I'll update it. Maybe that is the reason. Change it. Okay, I'll change this. Not Raspberry Pi, but password has been changed successfully. Okay. Then I'm going to reboot. Log out. And then reboot. So I'm rebooting. I am going to every time when I reboot my Raspberry Pi, it asks me to change it for SSH. That may be the reason. Hopefully that may be the reason. Other than that, yeah, I don't have any that complaint right now. So I'm going to click this. Oh, still. One more. Still not. One last thing. If this guy changes IPs, because IP is a dynamically provided from the router, I need to make sure it still remains the same. 10.206.86.163 still remain the same. That means now 10.206.86.163. Yeah. Now that is the real issue. Yeah. All right. Let's move further. Here you have to enter your Raspberry Pi username and password of that. and hit enter. Then you can, after that, if you want to directly log in into your Raspberry Pi, you can use SSH on Mac user. For Windows user, because Windows is not Linux, you don't do that using that. To connect IPI for Windows, that's what we did already. For others, yeah, we have to do that. Because although we do not have a VNC, but monitor that we have, we can still work on here. If you type Python, see if Python works. Right now, Python 3.11.2 is already installed together with your Raspberry Pi OS. So you have the current version of Python. I'll leave quit. And the other one is update and upgrade. You don't need to do that. And yeah, not much that you need to do here. And this is for Python. Yeah. Because you guys know already Python. We don't learn Python here. Once, yeah, this VNC is something that we take advantages if they are communicating. Even if it is not, still there's no problem to work using your separate independent the monitor terminals like I do here. So we use this. There's a full VNC. If you do not want to if there is no, if VNC is not connected because of our university Wi-Fi router, then most of us will have the issue because you need to bring your monitor to school because we have two available. Although two available there, then we have more students. Therefore, probably in that case, we will stay home so you can take my lecture. I'll do that home as well. So we can meet over Zoom next week. Presumably, let's do that. Next week, maybe one more week, and then we'll come back. But if something can be improved, then I will post on the Blackboard so that you guys need to come. So by default, next week and in the following week, at home, you can come to me over Zoom. Okay. But if I make an announcement, then you should come. All right. This is it for today.
Thank you.
There's no additional that we need to do because you guys do not have anything ready. All right. See you next week.
Hello, Professor.
Hold on just a second. All right, I'm back home trying to connect Raspberry Pi to my laptop. First, make sure that I have the same the Wi-Fi router. And also same thing here. I am going to see it's not yet connected, so here I want to make sure what is available. Yeah, here this router. Then I will do okay, and connect. I think now it is connected. 192.168.68.137 that you can see here directly, or you can bring up your terminal. Exactly the way that I did at school. So IP space address, then try to find out WLAN 0. So 192.168.68.137. This is something that I need to find, right? So on my MacBook, open up VNC viewer, and then new connection, put there 192 dot, no, I need to type 192.168 dot 192.168 dot 68.137 68.137. I want to make sure 192.168.68.137. all right, I'll call this new RPI at home. Underscore at home, and okay. Then I have here, double click it. All right, it says I need to do continue, and then I put oops, something happens, sorry. I need to put the user ID of my Raspberry Pi, PI, and then right, and okay. Give access. Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what I did. If you compare this Raspberry Pi, oops, I think this mode change is so sensitive. Yeah, came up. Oh, this was let me check if this is Oh, VNC was off. I need to enable both SSH and VNC. Okay. So it is now okay. Then I am going to open. It asks me to enter. Okay. Invalid password. Yes. VNC viewer would like to control this. Okay. Probably I don't need this, right? And I can do ls. Then that's remember this that I typed on my laptop that you can see here on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so we are good to go. So you can do this at home using your home router. Make sure that your laptop and your Raspberry Pi should connect the same router. Therefore, that Wi-Fi router can serve both your laptop and Raspberry Pi, and then they communicate. All right, thank you. See you next week.